So probably the question that I get asked the most is about our property taxes and what's going on with it. What's Governor DeSantis going to do with our property taxes? So I want to run through this. Plus, this was one of my most watched videos ever. I did one 2 years ago explaining our property taxes here in the state of Florida. Got all kind of crazy comments from people from the north. Yeah, but what about? So I'm going to try to cover it again and explain it once again to you. And I'm going to give you some examples of one home that we just recently sold and one home that we have under contract and the differences in the two homes and their taxes. So, question I get the most is what is a CDD fee? So, I would say any home in this area that was built after, now this is a overgeneralization, but after 2000, I'm going to say, maybe even earlier, because Lakewood Ranch was developing and they started these CDD fees. So, what that was, east of the interstate, especially I-75, that was either woods, there was farmland out there, there was, yes, there were some swamps out there were all kind of things. So no roads, no sewer systems, no parks, no lakes, no anything. So the builders were taking out a 30-year bond to pay for all this, to put the roads in, street lights, parks, put everything in. And so they took out these CDD fees, which in a community like Lakewood Ranch, every single home, condo, villa, no matter what it is, has a CDD fee attached to its taxes. So if you see somebody's property taxes here that says $8,000 a year, that will include their CDD fee. Typically, they're about $1,200 to $1,800 a year, the CDD. Now, there's some areas in Lakewood Ranch where it's getting up to or maybe even past 30 years on some of the homes there. So, what's going to happen there? Does that fee continue to go? I haven't researched that, but I do know they originally took out 30-year bonds. So maybe they go away, maybe they stay, maybe they keep going. With taxes, I would imagine they're going to keep going. But that's what a CDD fee is. Homesteading, what is that? I talk to all my clients that buy here. Literally, the day you closed on a property here, if you go and get your driver's license and do all the things that you need to do, get your new driver's license, register to vote, you can apply for homesteading at the same time. So that means this is going to be your primary residence. You can't be a snowbird and homestead a property here. So what homesteading does, the biggest thing that it does, I believe the biggest thing, it locks you in. So the assessed value on your property cannot go up more than 3% a year, which in turn means that your property taxes can't go up more than 3% a year. So huge advantage. Now, Governor DeSantis is talking about eliminating property taxes for people that are homesteaded. Yes, snowbirds, you'll still have property taxes. You have them now, and your taxes can go up. If the values go up 10%, your property taxes can go up 10% a year. They can also go down 10% a year. But that's what's going to happen with them if it gets voted through, which it's being voted on in November. If it goes through, that means homesteaded property in the state of Florida will not have property taxes, which will be pretty amazing because when you think about it, you've purchased a home, you're paying off a mortgage, but the property taxes just continue forever. So it would be an amazing thing. I think I figured out it would save us about $400 a month. So that would be phenomenal. You know, I'd love it for sure. So we pay our property taxes here in arrears. So in October, you get what we call a trim notice, which shows you what your taxes are going to be for the current year that you're in. So in November, if you have a mortgage, the mortgage company has escrowed the money away. They send your property taxes in and it pays it for the current year that you're in. So in November, my property taxes for 2026 will be paid. They do offer a percentage off. The sooner you pay, the less you have to pay. I think it's a 4% discount if you pay in November, then 3% in December, 2% in January, maybe 1 in February. And I'm going off the top of my head there, but you do get a discount if you pay earlier and get that money in. Hopefully soon we won't have to worry about that anymore. I don't know how that will roll out. If it does get voted in, which I can't imagine anybody voting to keep taxes, but how they roll that out is just wipe it off the first year, or do they roll it out? I'm not quite sure. I've heard that they're going to start with homes, I believe it was under $250,000, and then roll it up to higher value properties as time goes on. So, and again, it's just some things I read, and I don't know if that's 100% accurate or not, but that's what's going on there. And the reason I'm doing this video really is to explain to you, because I hear all these people out there, my Florida property taxes tripled and it did this, and so that's why I wanted to explain these things to you. So hopefully it will help. What happens every January in the state of Florida? They assess the properties. The property appraisers for a county assess all the properties. Now, an example here is Sarasota County has, I believe it's 330,000 homes. So there's not a property appraiser that goes out and examines 330,000 homes. They do an evaluation for the area, for the size home, the pool, there's so many things that they take into account when they're figuring those things out. But every January it gets assessed. So let's just say this year, 2026, you purchase a home in the month of July. So you're going to have the advantage of paying the property taxes for the people that you bought the home from. Okay, they could have been homesteaded, or maybe they were snowbirds. It depends. Something you need to ask your real estate agent. What are the taxes? Were they homesteaded, or were they snowbirds and they couldn't homestead? So very important for you to know. So what happens at closing is the seller from January 1 through the date of closing gives you a credit for the property taxes. Then from the day of closing through December 31st, those taxes are yours and you pay the entire bill because they've given you a credit for their portion of the property taxes. They don't become due until November, and then you pay it at the end. If you're getting a mortgage, what the mortgage company will do is they're going to get several months of property taxes from you at closing. They might ask for 6 months of property taxes at closing, including your escrows. So that's something you want to talk to your lender about. How much money are you going to escrow away at closing for my property taxes, my insurance, everything. Okay. So that's the way that's going to work. It's assessed every January. New construction, what happens there? So that's one of my examples that I have for you, and I want to explain that. So let's say that you went under contract on a home in June of last year. It wasn't finished until April of this year. So June of 2025 to April of 2026. So that means that the property appraiser could not assess that property in January because there wasn't a completed home on that lot. So what you see is these property taxes that are jumping because it was assessed on a vacant lot. Once the home is complete, as we're talking about in April of 2026, then when do we get assessed? January. So January of 2027, it would be assessed with the completed home on that lot. So yes, it's going to drastically change from a vacant lot to a house on that land. So I have an example here for you, a home we just sold to some buyers, and I've got the progression of how the taxes went. So these people went under contract, and actually, they probably went under contract in 2024. So 2023, the taxes on the lot that they were going to build on were $1,434. 2024, the home wasn't completed yet. The property taxes were $2,591. So they came in, they saw that there's a home being built. It's not completed, so they can't assess it on the complete value, but the home was being built. So it went to $2,591. Well, they closed on the home in August 2024. So what happened in January 2025? It was assessed with a completed home on it. The property taxes with a CDD, this is in a Del Webb parish, Del Webb Bayview. The property taxes went from $2,591 then went with a completed home, went to $8,436. So that's where these knuckleheads on YouTube are going, my property taxes quadrupled in the state of Florida. No, they didn't, because the property was assessed without a completed home on it. So that's where that comes from. Now, this particular homeowner in the year 2025 homesteaded it. So I don't know what the taxes will be on it in 2026 because it hasn't come out yet. But it will be pretty similar to what it was in 2025, $8,436. Got another example for you. A home here in the area where I live, our homes were built in the 80s, early 90s. These people purchased this home in 2004. Okay. They've been homesteaded ever since 2004. No CDD fee here because the homes, again, built in the 80s and 90s before CDD fee ever came along. So I don't have all the way back, but 2021, their property taxes, $3,439. 2022, things are going to go a little crazy, right? $3,460 because of the whole COVID and everybody running here. But remember, their assessed value on their property couldn't go up more than 3%. So that means their taxes aren't going to go up more than 3%. 2023, we've had that spike in property values. Property taxes are $3,567. So they went from $3,460 to $3,567. Okay. 2024, things are leveling off a little bit. Property taxes went to $3,634. All right. 2025, property taxes went up to $3,755. So that means from 2021 to 2025, they went from $3,439 to $3,755. So what is that? $325 over that time frame that they went up. And that was when the state of Florida had a 40% spike in the prices because we didn't have enough homes to keep up with the demand. So I hope that explains that to you with new construction and with homes that are actually homesteaded. We started off here in 2018. Our property taxes were approximately $4,400. I believe this year they're about $4,800. So, and we've been homesteaded the whole entire time. All right. those are all my notes I had for you, but hopefully explaining property taxes once again. So it's very, very important that you talk to your real estate agent about this. It's another thing we help you with new construction. One of those things we walk you through. 9 times out of 10, when I'm at a closing, people don't know what homesteading is in the state of Florida. They always say, "Oh, don't you have to live here for 6 months?" No, you don't. You don't have to live here for 6 months. As I said, the day after closing, if you make an appointment with the tax collector, you can go down, switch over your driver's license, register your cars, register to vote, and put in your application for homesteading. So you can do all that. There's a thing out there, I don't know what it is in Ohio, 6 months in a day, something like that. And that's what everybody always quotes. No, that's not true. So literally the day after closing, you can do it. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. And again, you can call me, you can email me, you can text me. Keyboard warriors out there, we don't have state taxes. We don't have city taxes. We don't have car taxes. None of that. So by coming to Florida, you get a huge raise. So we have none of those crazy taxes from like Taxatusets and Connecticut and New York, where they're just bleeding you. So got any questions? Give me a call, 941-962-7443. I would love to talk to you. And if you're going to move here, buying a resale home or new construction, we can help you make some really, really informed and wise decisions. It's important that you know, especially in this market, what you can figure out what you're going to have in the long run here. Are our values inflated? Are they down? Have they leveled off? So if I'm paying $500 for this house now, if I sell it in 6 years, where will it be? Where are we trending towards? Am I buying at the top of the market right now? Or am I kind of in a safe zone where things should be leveled off and hopefully trending up? Normal times, our appreciation on our homes in Florida is 4.1% a year, not 22, not 40, but 4.1% a year. So we want to talk to you about that. We don't want you to be like the typical American who waits till the stock market is up here and then they invest. And then when the stock market comes down a little bit, they complain that they lost money because they invested at the top of the market. So many people did that here, bought in 2022, 2023, especially new construction, because they could get in there. They didn't have an agent talking to them saying, slow down, look at what you're paying for this villa. You're paying $475,000 for this villa that normally sells for $350,000. So, you know what happened. But anyway, you can call me 7 days a week. You can email me, you can text me, and I'm happy to explain anything in this video to you. Okay? Thanks for watching. I hope to see you on the next video.